Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, we're going to react to why American and European trucks look so different. Now, when we went to the States in November, one thing that really stuck out to me was how different the big trucks, as we would call them lorries, how different they look. Like here in England and in Europe, they have quite a curved front. So if you're looking at it from the side, that it'll be like curved like that, like a triangle almost, where the side that's that way is a curved shape. Whereas in America, they look kind of like if anyone who's seen Transformers, like Optimus Prime, the big rig, they all kind of look like that. Like, why is that? Is it to do with the engine size? Maybe different regulations, different models are preferred in the States versus Europe and stuff. So I wondered, why was that? So yeah, hopefully this video answers that question.
Why European and American trucks are so different. American and European semi-trucks are very different. In America, you see all the trucks with a long nose and wheelbase with the cabin behind the engine, whereas trucks in Europe are
the newer ones as well, like it's a bit more like a semicircle.
over trucks where the cabin is above the engine. But why are they so different, and what are the advantages and disadvantages? Let's take a look at it. Livable. One of the reasons why the American trucks have bigger cabs is that owner-operators are very common in the US and not so much in Europe. These people own their trucks and pretty much live in them for months at a time. Because they spend so much time, and some have to live in the cabin, these cabins are quite a bit larger and have more features in the cabin.
Makes more sense.
Such as a fridge, microwave, freezer, wardrobe, large bed, windows, and some even have their own toilet.
Wow.
Owners modify their trucks to include huge living compartments, something not so common in Europe.
What does a trucker make in America? Because I guess buying a truck must be a significant investment. I'd have to think these things probably cost, at least for a new one, 100 grand, right? Something like that. So it must be pretty good income, I guess. Long hours though, right?
It is, of course, also possible to spend several days in a truck with a cab over, but the comfort is just not nearly as high. Long, wide roads. Much of an American truck's life is spent on the interstate system, where the lanes are wide and the roads are straight. For that reason, the long wheelbase of the truck is acceptable and typically makes the ride much more comfortable. Considering they are allowed to drive up to 12 hours every 24 hours, whereas European truckers can only drive 9 hours, that extra comfort is important.
Of course.
European semi-trucks are lighter and have shorter wheelbases, which makes them significantly easier to maneuver.
More agile, right?
Essentially, they are more compact and easier to work with in traffic and urban environments, which is perfect for the narrow roads in Europe. Also, the cab over has a better overview and less blind spots, which increase safety noticeably, where the larger bonnets and A-pillars on the American trucks make it difficult for drivers to get a clear view of traffic.
I see, of course. That was an obvious one, to be fair.
Strict regulations. Stricter regulations in Europe make for different trucks. For starters, a European semi-truck can only be 18.75 meters.
To be fair, there's not a huge difference. We're talking about a meter. I guess, to be fair, a meter is quite a lot, right? Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Or
still,
about 61 feet.
Huge difference.
Some countries have some exceptions, but generally that is the rule. Because of these restrictions, European trucks have to be as short as possible so they can tow more cargo. Considering American cabs can be 20 feet long, that only leaves 40 feet of room for cargo.
Okay.
So, in order to make more room for cargo, the cab has to be as short as possible.
Seeing one of these drive without any cargo is always quite funny to me. Just kind of looks like something's wrong with it.
Requirements in the US have been revoked back in 1986, and trucks now can be much longer. Actually, back in the day, cab-over trucks were quite popular in the US, but without strict limitations, roomier and more convenient to live with conventional design trucks prevailed.
Here in the UK, there was a massive shortage of truck drivers. Like I remember, yeah, like maybe last year there was a massive shortage, such that the government actually created a whole new visa that if you had trucking experience, you could come and get like, the right to work and stay in the UK. Is it the same as in the States? Is there like a shortage of truck drivers?
Speed and aerodynamics. A big difference between the European semi-trucks and American ones is that in Europe, the speed is limited to 90 kilometers per hour. But in some places in the US, trucks are allowed to reach 129 and even 137 kilometers per hour. It is on the long straight roads at high speed the better aerodynamics and longer wheelbase is a clear advantage for the long-nosed trucks, which are created for the long trips.
Interesting.
Conclusion. So, the reason why there is such a big difference between trucks in Europe compared to America is that they are used in different ways. There are different rules that must be observed, both in terms of speed, driving time, lengths, weight, etc. And that there is a big difference between roads and the infrastructure.
Defo. The wide lanes, for
one
sure.
is not necessarily better than the other, but they are adapted to the needs of truck owners, the driver, and the government requirements.
And the environment, of course.
Which is your...
Great video. Concise, to the point, yet full of good information, answered every question I had. The narrow roads is an obvious one. I should have known that. Like in America, especially on the interstate, the lanes are wider, which, you don't have to, like, because here, like mate, I can't imagine driving a lorry on some of the roads here in England. I would be so paranoid. I'd be constantly looking in the side mirrors. Like even in my car, like my Fiesta, like sometimes on the country lanes, when there's a 2-lane system, I'm going at 20 miles an hour because there's literally, we're talking inches of giveaway. So it would be impossible to do that in a big truck, but yeah, so the lanes was a big one. The comfort, I was surprised, like, having a kitchen in a truck, I didn't think that was possible. A toilet, I'm sure, like, do they have showers in there? There's no way. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.